Now, the next one that I want to talk about is super important. We're going to be talking about cortisol, stress rhythm, and sleep. Now, I want to be careful with the use of the term adrenal fatigue. I know that will ruffle some feathers because, adrenal fatigue isn't technically a legitimate diagnosis. The idea behind adrenal fatigue is really important. Now, one of the things with the cortisol and understanding what cortisol really is first you have to know that cortisol belongs on a curve. It belongs on a pattern. Is because they're associating cortisol with stress that they want their cortisol levels to be low. But that's not always a good thing, right? Lower than optimal cortisol can be problematic. What we typically want to see is cortisol rising up in the morning. So that's called your cortisol awakening response. You want to see a nice jump, a nice bump of cortisol first thing in the morning, helping to get you out of bed. Sometimes I call it the rise and shine peak. We want to see that number increase because cortisol is an arousal hormone, right? That means that it helps you to wake up, gets you up and out of bed, gets you going. Now, as you go through the day, cortisol levels are supposed to naturally slow down and calm down as you get into the evening because that helps you to get into that restful rhythm so that you can fall asleep and relax. Now, that's really important as well because typically if you have an abnormality or a slight elevation in cortisol towards the end of the day, that can actually be tied to a disruption in sleep. Right? Because again, I mentioned cortisol is that arousal hormone, helps you to get out of bed and get going.